You're listening to WUVT FM 90.7 Blacksburg. Good afternoon. You're listening to the debut episode of Hokie Weather Watch Live right here on WUVT 90.7 FM Blacksburg. So obviously this is our first episode. We're really excited to be here, but you have no idea what this is because it's the first time we're doing this. So Hokie Weather Watch Live is a radio talk show geared towards the one thing that impacts all of us, and that's the weather. The science, the communication, or even the pop culture influences that the weather brings to our daily lives. And we're going to touch on it today, especially with factors influencing us right here in the New River Valley. So thank you for tuning in. And now it's time to get to know us as panelists. So Aaron, why don't you start us off?
Hey guys, my name's Aaron. I am a junior here studying meteorology, and I am the lead meteorologist of Hokie Weather Watch here for you guys.
What's your favorite flavor of ice cream?
Oh man, I'm so boring. I like vanilla the best. Is that bad?
That's perfectly all right.
I'm sorry, guys.
I'm a big vanilla fan too, so it's okay. How about you, Caitlin?
I'm Caitlin Purcell. I'm a sophomore here at Virginia Tech. I am a communications major and meteorology minor, current incumbent WUVT chief meteorologist.
And favorite ice cream?
I'm going to have to go with Rocky Road.
That's a good choice.
Marshmallows just really get me.
Okay.
Yeah.
On a personal level? Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. And then our guest panelist for today is Zach. And you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, my name is Zach Vozzelli. I'm the current president of the Meteorology Club here at Tech.
Okay.
I'm a current senior meteorology major. That's pretty much.
Favorite ice cream?
Mint chocolate chip.
Okay.
Oh,
Yes.
Can't go wrong with that
Yeah,
either.
classic.
So I'm curious about, well, I guess I should introduce myself. That would be a good idea. I'm Nick Gilmore. I graduated from the meteorology program in 2015. I'm super passionate about weather and the communication of weather. And so I'm putting that into my current job at WVTF in Roanoke, which is NPR. I do a little bit of weather, a little bit of news, and bring it all together. And my favorite flavor of ice cream is vanilla. So,
Boo.
Man.
yeah.
represent.
I'm pretty much the most boring person you'll ever meet in your entire
Got
life.
two of them.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. So I'm just curious about, I feel like in the weather community, everybody has this story about what got them into weather for the first time. And I'm just curious about what got you guys interested in weather for the first time. Aaron?
I would have to say the severe weather.
Okay.
That is my number one thing that I really enjoy.
Okay.
The story I always tell is this crazy lightning storm happened back home, and it was crazy. It was lightning strike after lightning strike, thunder right after the lightning, windows rattling kind of thunder, pretty crazy. And my mom wasn't even fazed by it. I was scared to death, but just seeing my mom also not being scared of it at all kind of got me to appreciate weather, and it kind of got me into it, and I really started to like it from there.
Okay. How about you, Caitlin?
I agree. Definitely severe weather piques my interest. I lived in Pittsburgh for a long time, and I want to say early 2000s there was a microburst, and I was really young, and I've never had to experience something like that again. But I just remember my mom freaking out and our hot tub cover flying up, and my favorite bunny flag outside flew away.
Oh,
so
no.
it's pretty scarring, but
Yeah.
I would say it definitely piqued my interest.
I'm surprised you're still interested in it today
Yeah.
after
It's
that
a bit
traumatic
traumatizing,
event.
but I'm a big fan.
Okay. And Zach, how about you, man?
Mine's a little bit different. I really love tropical meteorology, and that all stems from back in 2003 when Tropical Storm Isabel made landfall in Virginia, and the eye wall actually passed right over our house, and it was one of the most memorable 24 hours of my entire life. And between that and the Jim Cantori saga with weather, and a lot of people get into weather because of him, and I'm one of those people. Kind of, he is the most awesome job in the world, and that's exactly kind of what I want to do.
That's awesome. See, my feelings about Jim Cantori is like, if you see him in your neighborhood, you know that you're in trouble.
Yeah,
because
Oh, yeah.
something bad is coming your way. So that's good that influenced you enough that you want to be able to do meteorology.
Oh, yeah.
So what is your favorite thing about this major so far here at Tech? Well, Caitlin, you're not a meteorology major.
Right,
but
right.
So far in your experience here at Tech with meteorology,
So
what's your
far in my
favorite?
experience, I just really like the community of the meteorologists here. We're all a big family, and we all look out for each other. I know people help each other in classes. Gets pretty difficult. I haven't had to dive into calc yet, but I know I've heard a lot of awesome stories about people's relationships with the professors and the students, and
That's awesome.
yeah, it's really nice.
That's awesome. Aaron?
I definitely have to second that. Meteorology is so new here, even still.
Oh, yeah.
It was like a 7-year-old major now, but it's still such a tight-knit group. We have 3 main faculty, and the third one was just introduced this past semester. So it's a very tight-knit group. Everyone is really close, and we all hang out, have a good time, and learn weather and nerd out a little bit. That's great.
Nothing wrong with that. And Zach?
I mean, yeah, they've said it all. It's everyone in the program is just amazing people. We're, like Katie said, we're a huge family, and the professors and the networking ability with all the different with all the different professionals in our field is amazing with our program. It's an awesome program.
Absolutely. I think that was my favorite part too, was just being able to it feels like a family, and we haven't been here long, like you said, Aaron, but I think that's the greatest thing. We help each other out. We do stuff together, which is really cool. A big proponent of the club there. I think it's awesome, and I'm glad that it's here at Virginia Tech for sure. So now that we got introductions out of the way, we have a really great show for you today. We've got a couple of topics that we want to talk about. Number one being a war over water in India, how water is such an important resource that we often take for granted. And then we're going to talk a little bit more about the tropics. It's been a crazy season so far, and we're gonna see what might be in the store down the road. But first of all, we want to make sure that you have the ability to interact with us on this show and throughout the rest of the week. So let them know how they can do that.
Yeah, you can find us on Twitter at HWWLive and WUVTFM, and also interact with us live using the hashtag HokiWX.
Sweet. Thanks so much. So let's jump right into our first topic. Aaron, do you want to lead the way there?
All right, so our first topic, like Nick said, is the war for water in India. And it's kind of crazy out there right now. There's been a big riot that happened not too long ago after a little law was passed, I guess, limiting the amount of water that each farmer can get. And it's really kind of putting a stranglehold kind of on what they can do to grow their crops, because that's a big part you obviously need water to grow crops here.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
There was a big riot out there, mostly because the monsoon season out there in India has just ended here in September. So that has really put a hard time on these people out there, and they're lashing out, to say the least.
So for the folks back home, what exactly is a monsoon?
So monsoon seasons, so you have a wet and a dry season, and it's all dependent upon the way the winds are blowing during that time. So if you're having winds blowing off the Himalayas down through India, you're going to have a very dry season. But when the winds shift, they shift and come out of the Indian Ocean and blow across India. And that will bring lots of storms, and they have lots of rain that come from that.
Right. And a lot of people just associate monsoons immediately with rain, but that's not the case all the time. So
It's a wind pattern.
right.
Well, I can see how that's problematic now that monsoon season is over. Obviously, you've got a resource of water there that's not there anymore. I feel like we here in America, obviously, we take water for granted. You want water, you go to the faucet, it's good to go. But the conflict here is that there isn't so much water. And I think one of the things that in the future we're going to have to worry about is wars over water, just like this. It's a resource that is so precious. What do you guys think about that?
It's kind of crazy. We're already dealing with that kind of now over in the West Coast. A lot of people are getting out of Dodge over there because they're dealing with not the extreme conditions that they're dealing with in India, but they're dealing with water shortages out there, and it's really putting a hard time on people out there.
Right, and this has been a long time coming. I mean, I think more legislation needs to obviously be put into effect to control this and get people to realize it's not a joke anymore.
I got you. We have to take a quick break for a public service announcement. Every 2 seconds, a person in the United States needs blood. Do your part by giving blood at your local Red Cross blood drive. One donation can help save the lives of 3 human beings. Visit redcrossblood.org for more information and to find a blood drive near you. So jumping right back into that topic, you mentioned, Aaron, a little bit about the issues with water here in the United States. And I feel like obviously you go to the faucet, you get water, but sometimes that's not the case even here in America. Could you maybe expand on that a little bit more? Some of the things that we face here in America as far as water is concerned?
Yeah, just like I was saying a little bit earlier, kind of out in the deserts with the Colorado River. When it doesn't rain out there, I mean, that's your main source of water.
Right.
So yeah, like Nick was saying, we take it for granted. But people out there, it's also hard when you're creating a luscious green landscape out in the desert that doesn't help with the water shortage.
It puts a drain on things for sure. Thinking about that, or do you think there's any sort of issue with water locally for us? How does like a lack of water affect us locally?
So yeah, right now even in Blacksburg, we are kind of in a little bit of a drought ourselves. We are in D0, which is known as abnormally dry, from the drought outlook here in Blacksburg. So far here in September, we've only gotten 0.15 inches, and we should be around 1.7 inches. So that's a major shortage in water.
Aaron, will you tell me a little bit more about the scale?
So the scale is based upon the drought conditions and the amount of water that you've been getting, and it's a time frame as well.
So we can get up to about what, D4?
Yeah, about D4, D5. Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
So we're pretty serious right now.
We're in the slight stages right now.
Okay. Opposite.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. 5 is the worst. 0 is just starting out.
But I mean, it's something that you think about for sure. Because I feel like when you hear the word drought, oh my goodness, it's crazy. Nobody has water right now. But there's obviously levels to it. Right. And I think when I see this and how here in Blacksburg, we've only seen 0.15 inches of rain so far, I think it goes back to a climatological thing. And you just have to understand that every year is going to be a little bit different. Just because we had rain last year, about 1.7 inches, that's the climatological norm. You just have to gauge upon what the atmosphere is giving you at this point in time.
Yeah, definitely.
For sure.
Yeah, I don't think we're hitting the norm right now with temperatures either.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely been a little bit warm.
Hot still.
But hopefully we're heading out of that. Let's fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. I'm definitely a fall person.
Well, and even in Atlanta, which is only 3 hours south of us, they're in extreme drought right now.
Oh yeah.
And you don't hear about it, you know. But it's definitely affecting a large city that a lot of people use a lot of water, and that's something to keep your eyes on. For sure.
Absolutely. I guess my next question would be, you mentioned the issue in Atlanta and how you're not hearing about it. Why do you think that is? Why do you think a news story about a drought or a lack of water gets tossed out as compared to some other sort of form of news?
Well, you hear about it in California a lot, but that's because it's been happening there for so long. I think Atlanta, they just went into drought recently. You don't really hear too much about it because it's so new and news stories. It's not really an eye catcher.
Right.
You see drought, it's like, oh, okay, what.
But everyone's always interested in the tornadoes and hurricanes.
Exactly.
But you don't hear about drought.
It's because it goes back to the United States taking water for granted.
Yeah. So, hearing that, as a meteorologist in a community, what do you think we can do about that? Do you think there's anything that we can change? Can we better communicate with the general populace to maybe make a change about that?
With social media being such a big role in our lives today, we can definitely push water use and knowing how to use water, what's overuse of water, especially when you're in these drought stages, because that can potentially save lives. Right. Drought kills people, and a lot of people don't realize that.
It's a natural resource. I mean, you gotta have it to live. So
yeah, exactly. Crazy. So if you can push that through social media, because everyone's on their phone all day pretty much, and if they see that, maybe it just will subliminally put it in their head that, all right, I need to start cutting back a little bit on that
Right.
shower.
And
Yeah.
also, yeah, go ahead.
Oh yeah, even in the past few years, I've noticed just weather's become a lot more prevalent in social media, and I think it can be so powerful. So I think we need to work towards getting more into that, I guess.
Okay. Using more social media to interact with people. And I feel like being really clear and concise about what you're saying, the way that you communicate it, make sure that, like the old adage goes, if your mom doesn't understand what you're talking about,
Oh yeah, the grandma rule.
yeah, exactly, your grandma. If your grandma doesn't know what you're talking about, it's very likely that other people don't know what you're talking about. So we have to think about that as a meteorology community, which I think is great. Okay, so let's jump into our next topic here. Let's talk a little bit about the tropics. Aaron, you want to give us an update on that?
All right, so we have a couple things going on right now. So the first one that's closest to the United States right now is Julia. Right now it is a tropical depression, and it is off the coast of, the center of the circulation is off the coast of South Carolina. Nothing to be too worried about right here. This isn't, a major hurricane heading for anybody. This is just a little tropical depression, just spinning up. Max winds at around 30 miles per hour. And it's a slow mover. It's been hanging around for quite a long time. The projected forecast out of NOAA here has it only getting up to the North Carolina coast by Wednesday. I mean, this thing is crawling.
Yeah.
And then next we have is Carl. I don't know if you guys have heard about Carl yet or not, but it is now a tropical storm. It's still out pretty far off the coast of Africa still, but it has a projected path of kind of inching its way over towards our area, kind of skirting north of the Bahamas and kind of heading in this general direction. But just keep your eyes out, listen to your news, just to see what's going on. The cone of uncertainty, as it is projected this to kind of be just south of Bermuda, kind of around Friday-ish area, and becoming a hurricane not too long before that.
Okay. Anything crazy going on in the Pacific?
Yeah, we've had a couple things going on in the Pacific. Taiwan was just near missed by a massive hurricane. I can't remember, out there it would be a typhoon, but I can't remember the exact wind speeds of that one. But we do have another one that's still out there, kind of off the coast of China here. Right now it is a Category 2 with winds at 105 miles an hour, and it's going to be tracking more to the northeast. And hopefully not impacting too many people. As it enters colder waters, it should be weakening and hopefully not causing so much damage anymore.
Okay. So obviously this hurricane season for us here in the Atlantic, it's been pretty crazy. We already have several named storms. Hermine, just a few weeks ago, I think was the first storm in over a decade to make landfall in Florida. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, this first hurricane.
Yeah, which to me is just absolutely crazy because you think about Florida, it's like hurricane central of the world, but they haven't had a landfalling hurricane. What do you think? The fact that it's been so long since there's been a landfalling hurricane in Florida, what do you think that has an impact on the public?
I think that it might lull people to sleep a little bit. You would think a peninsula jutting out into the Gulf of Mexico would get hammered all the time.
Huge target.
Yeah, but 10 years of not getting anything, you kind of just be like, wow, we're kind of invincible. Yeah. It can't hit us anymore.
Yeah, that's a bit concerning because I feel like the public might not take it seriously if we have another one coming. So I think people just need to take the preparedness seriously
Listen to
and
your
just be ready.
meteorologist, right?
Be ready whenever.
Well, also talking about being prepared, just because it has a name of a hurricane doesn't mean that, or if it doesn't have a name, doesn't mean that it's not as dangerous.
Right.
A lot of tropical storms and tropical depressions can put down a ton of amount of rain, so much rain, and it'll create flooding. And flooding's the number one deadliest weather phenomena out there. Yeah. And so you got always be prepared.
And I think a lot of people don't realize that. You think, well, it's just going to rain a lot. Ooh, big deal. But it takes lives.
Right. And don't forget about the storm surge.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So last year we had a really intense El Nino event, which for those of you that don't know, El Nino is what's known as a teleconnection. And it's basically where the waters off the coast of South America, they get really, really hot. And so therefore it kind of impacts weather conditions around the world. I was just wondering if what do you think that last year's record El Nino event, what kind of impact is that going to have on the rest of the hurricane season, do you think?
Well, we're kind of transitioning out of an El Nino right now. We're kind of transitioning into more of an El Nino, which is the exact opposite of what Nick just said. The ocean temperatures are going to be cooling, but the temperatures out there are still very, very warm. We have disturbances popping up off the coast of Africa almost every day, it seems like.
Right.
Not all of them evolve into anything, but some of them do. With ocean temperatures this warm, it's very easy to spin up something. And just staying up to date on your news and paying attention and just making sure that nothing's coming your way.
I guess we should talk a little bit about how a hurricane forms. Why is warm ocean water good for a hurricane?
So warm ocean water it provides energy. When there's warm ocean water, there's energy. And there's a lot of factors that go into it. And you need low shear. Also, shear is change in direction and speed of wind with height.
Right.
And the lower the amount of shear there is, the greater the likelihood of a hurricane popping up. And there's multiple other ones, but it take too long to get into.
Those are the two main things.
Those are the two main things. So these warm ocean waters along with low shear can help spin up any kind of tropical depressions, which can then later turn into tropical storms or hurricanes.
Now, how does that occur? And what's the process for it to become stronger?
Just less shear and warmer water. You just continue to grow, and you get more upward motion of this warm energy, really. And the more upward motion you get, the stronger the circulations can become, these low pressure systems, and then you get the eye wall closing in, because usually the eye wall won't close in until it becomes a hurricane. And once you see that eye that you really connect a hurricane with, that's when you know it's getting pretty serious.
Okay. So the warm ocean water basically is the fuel for the hurricane.
Yeah, it's energy. Yeah.
So understanding that the ocean temperatures are really, really warm right now, I want to talk a little bit about the state of the climate. And obviously the planet is really, really hot right now.
Yeah.
Going back to what we said about Florida and the general public, how can we relate that to people in a sense that's not so much political? Because I feel like anytime you mention the climate, that the world is getting a little bit warmer, you're going to start a crazy debate over politics. How can we as a community, how can we start the conversation outside the realm of politics? Any ideas?
Well, I guess you can, outside the realm of politics, you can start by saying you need to be more aware of what you're doing to the environment. The more harm we do to the environment, of course, and the more people there are on Earth, the warmer Earth's going to get. And I feel like there's not much we can do to cool it down necessarily, but we can definitely slow down the effect of global warming, not in a political term. So I think instead of looking at trying to get it back to where it was thousands of years ago, when there weren't very many people on Earth, look more towards becoming more environmentally aware of what you're doing on a daily basis even.
Yeah, and I think the best way to do that is to educate and just really inform, provide the facts, the statistics, how we were, how we've become. And, I mean, people make their own judgments on that, but that's the best you can do, so.
I think people are not so into statistics. They might think of it more of as like a manipulation of stats, and it's like, oh, it's a conspiracy or something like that. But I mean, yes, that does happen from time to time, but this stuff is serious stuff. You can just look at the raw data. Yeah,
everything is pointing to a warmer Earth. So it's a tricky subject.
It is,
and
very delicate subject.
For us in the community of meteorology, I feel like it's going to be hard going forward to come up with ways to tell the public about what they're up against. So let's take a quick break. Let me read off a public service announcement. WUVT would like to thank all of its wonderful supporters for a successful radiothon. All premiums are now available for pickup at 350 Squire Student Center from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m., Monday through Friday. Stop by and allow us to thank you in person for your support. All right, so, Zach, it's interview time. You ready for this?
Yes.
The moment we've all been waiting for.
Drum roll, please. So, Zach, you are the president of the VT Meteorology Club, correct?
Correct, yep.
You are also in charge of the local chapter of the American Meteorological Society and the National Weather Association, right?
That is correct.
So, from your perspective, can you just tell me a little bit about the major here at Tech and how the club interacts with the major and the students in the major? Can you just give me a little background there?
Yeah, but first, our club is not just meteorology majors. We are open to everyone and anyone who is a weather enthusiast.
I would just like to say I am a member of the Meteorology Club as a comm major.
Exactly.
So anyone can join.
And just adding on to that, we also have local meteorologists in the professional field who are also members.
I'm one of them. So
yeah, exactly. And so the club itself offers networking abilities like being able to be members of this club with local professionals. But then going back to your question, the club itself is the only club that the meteorology major really has. We're the only meteorology club on campus.
Right.
And so most meteorology students usually do become members. It's a great, the AMS chapter of, AMS is American Meteorological Society. It's a national organization. They hold a conference, a major conference every year. And then the National Weather Association, same kind of thing, just a different, just kind of a different name. Our club and our major are very well intertwined, and it's a cool experience if you do wish to ever come out.
That's awesome. Can you tell me about some of the events that the club takes part of? You mentioned the annual meetings at AMS and NWA, but what are some things that you all do?
So we participate in different festivals, like Science Fest, and then Go Fest, which is in Roanoke. We do a few different festivals. We put up a booth, and we do a few cool things, really aimed towards children to try to pique their interest in weather, because that's our main goal, is to recruit future meteorologists. And so we do a lot of fun things together. We do a lot of activities, like goes back to the whole meteorology family. We're just a sub-family of meteorology, and we're even closer knit, I believe. And we do a lot of fun activities together. We do a lot of promotional events for the club, and we really try to get our name out to the community to have the community kind of trust us. It's hard to kind of put that in terms, but we try to really do a lot of community outreach.
Okay.
What kind of goes on in one of your monthly meetings?
Well, we usually go over kind of what we're doing for the next month, or whichever. We go over all just the boring details of like a club, and then
day-to-day stuff.
Yeah, don't worry about that part. But then we usually have guest speakers. They're usually from different areas of the field, such as like NASA or the National Weather Service or broadcast meteorologists, anything. So really, we try to provide our members with opportunities to meet these professionals and give them an awesome networking ability to get their face in front of the person they kind of, quote unquote, want to be like.
Right. Look up to and stuff.
Yeah. And that's a big thing, like in the meteorology field, is it's networking. But yeah, that's kind of what we kind of do throughout the meetings.
So you said that you have a ton of guest speakers going into broadcast or from NASA and everything. Can you tell us what you can actually get involved in when it comes to the major?
Yeah. So there's tons of things. Some things people don't even think about. You got, one of the crazier things is like insurance firms. They need meteorologists or kind of like historic meteorologists.
Forensic meteorology.
Yeah. Yeah. And even like, airports need meteorologists, broadcast. like I said, NASA needs meteorologists for their for the rocket launches. And then you have military, of course, is a big one. You have radio hosts such as Nick, who does meteorology.
Thanks.
Shout out.
And then
Shameless plug.
yeah, but there's all tons of different meteorology fields you can go into. It's not just your broadcast meteorology.
Right. I think that's what when people, at least in my experience, whenever I've told them, of course that's kind of what I wanted to do was broadcast,
Right.
Yeah.
but when I told them meteorology, they're like, "Oh, so you're going to be on TV?"
You want to be a
someday."
weatherman?
Yeah. But there's so much more to it than just that.
Oh yeah.
So I think it's cool that the club gives students a whole bunch of different options as
Yeah.
far as the different areas in meteorology. That's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
You talked a little bit about the different people that come out for meetings and stuff. Is there anybody that you're really excited about on the schedule for this semester?
Well, we don't have a tentative date just yet, but his name's Tony Rice.
Oh, okay.
He works with WRAL in Raleigh, but he's more like a contributor.
Mm-hmm.
He's also, which is a news station, but he also works with NASA Jet Propulsion Laboratory
Oh, wow.
out in Pasadena, California. So he's come in the past and give little presentations, and they're usually, in my opinion, they're the coolest presentations anyone gives. So he should be coming up this semester. Again, an awesome opportunity to network. He works with NASA. He knows a ton of people, and that's one of the ones that we're really excited about.
That's awesome.
He works with ball engineering too, right? The people who make the mason jars.
Yeah, he works a little. He works a little bit everywhere. He knows everyone.
He's
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. I had a question and I totally just forgot. I'm drawing a blank right now. Can you tell me a little bit about? Oh yeah, I was gonna ask about NWA. Tell me about the most recent conference in Norfolk. Did a bunch of members from the club go?
Yeah, a bunch of members did go. I actually was not able to go. I got a pretty heavy semester this semester, so I was not able to go.
Anybody got time for that?
Yeah, exactly. But no, apparently it was a huge hit. We had Samantha Wright and Carrie Simmons go, and they gave a weather briefing in front of 1,000 meteorologists.
That's amazing.
And apparently they killed it, and they represented our club amazingly. But yeah, so between them, and then we had past members who are kind of still affiliated with our program. They went and gave presentations, so I think our club was very well represented, and I'm very proud of them.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You all had an opportunity for the students to give their presentations in a practice run
Yeah.
here recently too, right?
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little about that?
So actually, Aaron can actually talk a little bit more about this because he actually put this all together.
I did. So I am also the vice president of the club.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we did is we took some people and we traveled down to WDBJ7 in Roanoke, which is the local news station there. And we gave everyone who was presenting in the NWA conference a chance to present in front of a group of people. Kind of get their feet wet, kind of get their vocabulary right, and give them a little dry run. It was a lot of fun. We had a good turnout. And got to meet, the famous Robin Reed and all of them. Even
He is famous.
He is, and the new meteorologist in there who has replaced Lindsay Anderson. We got to meet her as well. So that was a lot of fun. It was a good time, and it was good.
Nice.
That's awesome. Is there anything else you want to add about the club? I want people to know.
I mean, there's not much else. We're like I said, a huge family. You do not have to be a meteorology major. If I'd mentioned to some people who were kind of on the fence about joining. I was like, if you're incoming freshman or sophomore, whichever transfer, and you miss your family at home, we are a great kind of quote unquote replacement for that.
A nice alternative.
Yeah, nice alternative to your family. We definitely take care of you. I know my freshman year coming in, I was deathly missed my family, and the meteorology club here, was a humongous aid to that, and I'm so thankful for that, making my freshman year so much better.
Plus, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's free food at every meeting.
Oh well, I mean, it's free for you guys.
Yeah, exactly.
For some of us.
Yeah, there is.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You got to get those people to come out somehow, right?
Exactly.
All right. Well, what would be a weather show without a forecast? So here is your Hokie Weather Watch Live weekly forecast. We're going to have a cold front that's going to begin to move through the area late tonight. It's going to bring some rain to the New River Valley, including some scattered rain showers tomorrow morning. So keep that in mind for your trek to campus. You're going to need that rain gear. The good news is that the rain is gone completely by tomorrow night, and high pressure begins to set in the region, leaving us with some very pleasant conditions for the majority of the week. Not so humid, and definitely some lower temperatures. So look for clear to partly cloudy skies. Daytime highs in the upper 70s to lower 80s, and nighttime lows in the mid 50s to lower 60s here in Blacksburg over the next several days. And finally, temperatures at kickoff for the Hokies matchup next Saturday with East Carolina at 12:30. Looks like it's going to be in the mid 70s, and a stray rain shower or two is going to be possible by the end of the game. So keep that in mind as you prepare. So, first show is in the book, guys. What do you think?
Very well done.
Yeah.
It was
You excited?
Good time, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited for things to come.
Yeah, I hope we got some people excited about weather out there.
Yeah.
I'm hyped up right now. I know it doesn't sound like it, but I promise.
Yeah, you should see this guy. He's
I
going crazy.
don't even know, man. It's crazy.
He's got the radio voice going.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I worked hard on it. Okay, so can you give them the social media information one more time?
Right. Twitter, you can find us at Hokie WX Watch and WUVT FM on Twitter.
Okay, so this is Hokie Weather Watch Live, first episode. We'll be back next week, same time here at 4 o'clock on WUVT FM.